So yesterday we were talking about how to move stuff in and out of cells. This is awesome. Let's see. How's that? How much better? So we were talking about how to move stuff in and out of cells. We had our passive movements. We had the movement of molecules. Can anyone tell me what the passive, wow, that's not easy to say. The passive passage of molecules. And then you would tell me what that would be. It starts with a D.
Exocytosis.
So exocytosis is going to be the movement out of a cell. The one with the D, it's diffusion.
Oh, yeah.
Remember diffusion? Now, we are talking about endocytosis, moving stuff into the cell. Diffusion is molecules, some solid particle. And diffusion is where we are moving with the concentration gradient from high to low. If we are talking about it being like us, we were discussing like moving with the crowd from an area where there's a lot of people into an area where there's not very many people. And the concentration gradient, the greater the difference between high and low, the faster you're going to move. Think of the slide. If we have super, super high and super, super low, that's going to be a super fast slide. What is it if I have a helper molecule move the particle into the cell?
Facilitated diffusion.
Our facilitated diffusion. Now we're still moving with the gradient, high to low, but now we have some sort of helper molecule. What was it called if I am moving liquid in? There you go, osmosis. Now this is not necessarily with the gradient. The concentration gradient is pertaining to molecules only, solid particles. So when we're talking about solid particles, that's where they're moving from high to low. When we're talking about osmosis, the particles are not allowed to move. We're simply trying to get everything even Steven now by moving the liquid and diluting the particles until they are the same concentration. Does that make sense to everybody? You guys are not nearly as active today. What is happening with you?
Another Monday.
Heck yeah, that makes sense.
Heck yeah.
Nobody's awake.
Well, then get yourself awake. Go get a Monster drink or whatever you are. You have. Well, don't drink it in here, Stanley. Stanley Hudson.
I wrote a message earlier. It was like, y'all are a lively bunch today.
No, they're really not.
I saw that.
You guys are all just kind of just.
I think it's like 10 of us versus 20 of y'all.
Right? Yeah, they are definitely. My live studio audience is not very participatory today. My goodness. All right, so
It's about to be Thanksgiving.
I'm missing one. We have diffusion.
Filtration.
Thank you. Look at that. You guys woke up. Filtration. And we compared this to our coffee maker, and this is going to be, filtration is based on force. So for example, when your heart beats and it splooshes out some blood, the harder your heart beats, there's a chance that some of the fluid will be filtered out of your blood and into the tissue. That would be, what is it when we have fluid in our tissue? Tell me the term for that. Interstitial. That is interstitial. That would be the fluid in the tissues. So then we started talking about exocytosis, moving things out of the cell. And so what is the term for moving moving solid particles. Like I'm eating something. Phagocytosis. Doug is completely off the wheel. That's active. See, I skipped a whole thing right there, didn't I? So those are the 4 passive. Then active, phagocytosis, pinochrygiocytosis. That's
And
what my brain
receptor.
goes there. Pinochrygiocytosis. And then what was the third lock and key?
Receptor mediated.
Or only specific things, if they fit, can come in. Then our exocytosis is removal of waste, gases. That's basically, in my mind, I always see the picture that I Google image searched for you, the dog pooping. Think about that, the dog pooping with the exocytosis. So those are all of the movements of getting stuff in and out of our cells. And really, it's really nothing more than a little bit of terminology. That's the depth to which we need to go. So today we're going to talk about what happens when a cell needs to replicate itself. We have 2 different ways that a cell can replicate itself. Meiosis and mitosis. Now the difference between these 2, in meiosis, we will have a contribution from multiple DNA, and we will end up with a cell that is unique. Give me an example of this. You are a product of meiosis. You had a cell from your mom, the egg. You had a cell from your dad, sperm. And these 2 cells contributed a little bit of each of them so that you end up with a cell that is unique unto itself. We don't want that. We don't want my liver cells to go rogue and just start making random other cells. That's not going to be very good for my liver function. I want my cells to have an exact, perfect replica, an exact copy that will automatically already have the blueprint, the manual, the know-how to do its job. When my liver cell multiplies, I need those other cells to automatically get to work and start functioning as liver cells. That's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about how does a cell make a perfect Xerox copy of itself and prepare for its own demise. That's mitosis. Let me get in here to my screen share.
So we're a product of meiosis that needs mitosis.
Yup.
Yeah.
We are a product of meiosis that uses mitosis. All right. So meiosis is reproductive. And this is really important when we're looking at things like dog breeds. Oh, by the way, FYI, I do on my Moodle have it now open. It opened yesterday, where I have a polling question at the very top, and you can go ahead and vote for what group the winner of the dog show is going to be from.
Woohoo! I've been waiting for you to open that up.
It's open now, so choose wisely. There are 7 groups, and so the winner will be coming from one of those, and so you can go in and vote, and it will tell me who voted for what, and whoever votes for the right group, I'm going to give extra bonus points on the next test. So there you go. No loss though. If you don't want to play, you don't have to. But when we have our dog breeds, it's kind of what makes a purebred dog breed. The Whole point and the definition behind a purebred is that the litter mimic the look of both parents. However, it is unique genetic coding. We really see examples of this in our cats, because remember when our queens go into heat, they kind of, well, they get super slutty, and they're just gonna do it with everybody. And that's where you have cats that will, in fact, more often than not, have litters from different daddies. They got different baby daddies for every kitten in their litter. Even though all the kittens were born at the same time, there is a possibility that they will have even more unique genetic material because a contribution came from someone else. That's meiosis. Mitosis is when I end up with an exact copy. So when I have a little cut and it heals, that is healing due to mitosis. My epithelial cells are replicating, making exact copies of themselves to fill in what was damaged. So we are going to be focusing on mitosis. So the life cycle of the cell. The majority of a cell's life is spent in what we call interphase. Interphase is when no replication is happening at all. This is a preparatory phase. This is the phase that the cell is constantly preparing itself to divide and multiply. There's a whole bunch of stuff that's got to happen before a cell is ready to multiply and make an exact copy of itself. Things like it's got to get bigger, right? If I have a cell and I want to make 2 cells out of this 1 cell, I got to make that 1 cell bigger, don't I? I also have a bunch of organelles inside the cell. Don't I need to copy all of those for the new cell? Yup. I have DNA. I'm going to need to unzip that DNA and then rezip the DNA, so I have 2 copies of the DNA. This is all preparation. And so all this prep work is going to be happening here during interphase. Excuse me. So interphase can actually be defined by the time in between divisions, prepping for the divisions. Now we used to call this the resting phase because it wasn't actively dividing. Back when I was in college, that's what we called it, the resting phase. Now we refer to it a little bit differently. I'm going to have to minimize you video people. There we go. Now we call it something a little bit different because we realize that cells are never truly at rest. They are either dividing actively or they are getting ready to divide and doing their job of whatever it is their little cell job is. Cells never truly rest. So by calling it a resting phase was kind of a mistake. Now we call it the metabolic phase. So the metabolic phase is the preparatory. They're doing their little cell job, they're going to work, they're taking their lunch, you know, they're earning that dough, earning that paycheck, and they are preparing for the time that they're going to actively divide. That's interphase. We can see the nucleus, cell membrane is intact. We can see the chromatin, which is the amino acids. So it's just normal, plain Jane, regular cell. That is interphase. Inter meaning what? Between. Inter means inside. It could also mean between. So this is in between 2 divisions. So we're just prepping. This is all the prep work. Speaking of preppers, I got a beat to pick just for a second. Who the hell is buying all the toilet paper now?
Everyone.
I'm sorry. Back in March, People went through, and I find this ridiculous because COVID is not even truly a GI disorder, although they can have now GI issues, but what does this person's bottom look like that they are using this much toilet paper? Because I bought an 18 pack back probably the beginning of the summer, and I'm still using the same pack. These people are purchasing hundreds of rolls of toilet paper and it's not enough. What is happening? Seriously, what is happening?
I think their plan was to just stay in their house, and that's it. Like, you know,
Well,
So you
but
stock
I
up on
say-
toilet paper for that?
I just want to
Yeah.
say, as society, we're just greedy.
Yeah, clean that booty somehow.
I don't know how that ass looked before. I know how it looks now.
I
It's probably real
don't understand.
red and irritated.
I mean,
I'm
they was even
telling
out of like butt wipes, like baby butt wipes and everything. Like,
Be in the restroom for that long, just
Which is
standing there.
crap because you can't use regular toilet paper on babies. They shouldn't have gone out their way and done that.
didn't
I
make sense.
just, oh,
though.
I've
I
seen,
know, they've tried.
I agree on that, Joseph. Poor baby's gonna be sore now because we done took from them.
I don't understand it. How do you need toilet paper at this point? I don't understand it at all. I was wondering if any of you had an idea.
Because they don't have the bidets. Nobody has that unless you're like rich or something.
But even family, so my parents and my two nieces and nephew and my sister all live in the same house. So I know, right?
They're
Like,
gonna
get
require
started
using
on that.
toilet paper correctly.
So that is 6 people in their house. There's no way they're going through 100 rolls of toilet paper over a summer.
So then is it safe to say people are wasting?
My children will go get one roll of toilet paper and then soak it. And you have to throw the whole thing away.
Oh, geez.
Or the dog eats it because they leave it sitting there. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so that I understand. I'm sorry. I got off topic. I'm sorry. It was just something I needed to bring up in group. Because you're kind of my group therapy session. Had to bring it up in group. I went to Target last night to get myself a salad. And I just went and was like, seriously, didn't we just go through this? I don't even want to know what your plumbing looks like if you've used that much toilet paper in the matter of 4 months.
What makes less sense is people were buying less food than toilet paper. So it's like,
What, are you eating the toilet
yeah,
paper?
sorry.
I don't understand it. I just don't understand.
They're sharding, so they need the toilet paper because they're sharding.
I just don't get it. I just don't get it. I think, Emily, you've hit the nail on the head. We're just greedy. We're just greedy. Anyway,
That's the
all
only
right.
thing that I can do.
Yeah. These people who think they're gonna make their fortune by selling it on eBay.
Trading it. One roll
Yes,
for $73.
There was, oh, a funny story, and then we'll get back to mitosis. So there was this guy up in Canada. Was it up? Yeah, up. I think he was in Northern Ontario. And he took out a loan for $30,000. And he went to every store within a 50-mile radius and bought everything of toilet paper and everything of hand sanitizer. But they have laws against hoarding up there, especially during a natural disaster. And the police came and they raided him and they took it all and donated it.
That's just what he gets.
Did you read that? Yeah, well, I thought that was fabulous.
That's just what you get. That's just.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It is what you
See
get.
what happens for being greedy?
Yeah, so
They should do that.
no more toilet paper for him. All right, so during cell division, okay, we have now prepped. That was the whole thing that took me to the toilet paper, was the prepping. We have prepped our cell. We have are ready. So here we have a cell. Here we have replicated our DNA, and we have split and have 2 absolutely perfect copies. This is where we were discussing, I think, last week about radiation and different medications where they can sometimes mix up the DNA. And then as you're replicating, it's now replicating the incorrect DNA. And that's why radiation is so dangerous. You may not have an issue right now, but down the line you might. So all of the prep during interphase and then the actual dividing happens during mitosis. So we're not going to go too deep, so don't you panic. We're just basically going to define what the steps are. That's a lot of words. Don't panic. Rule number 2 is don't panic. You've learned the rules, I assume.
Always carry it out. Don't panic.
Oh no, rule number 1 is very important. Don't eat poo.
I thought you were talking about,
No, veterinary
Oh,
school
yeah,
rules.
okay.
Rule number 1 is don't eat poo.
Like the fact that that has to be stated.
Yeah.
All right, but okay, again, it's a Monday on a Tuesday. So when I'm saying don't eat poo, I'm not saying like go out with your cereal bowl and pick up the yard and, eat it like your cereal. In the back of your mind, you're in your clinic. I'm going to set a scenario for you because I can. It's my class. I can do what I want. You have overbooked surgeries. You are the surgery tech, but you're also running rooms because one of your techs called in sick. So you have all 4 of your exam rooms are full. You have a lobby full of patients waiting. You have as many walk-ins as you do appointments. Your surgeon is screaming at you because you haven't even started pre-surgical blood work. You're down by a bunch of people. You have not had time to pee, never mind eat. So as you're running from room to room, you've got some fecals cooking over here. You've got a urinalysis going over there. You've got your pre-surgical blood works cooking, doing some stuff in the blood analysis equipment. You very quickly, as you run by the table, grab your sandwich, eat a quick bite, and go to the next room. First off, what did you not do? And what did you do? You ate poo. And there's a lot of zoonotic stuff that can happen if you eat poo.
Yeah.
Yeah? So, just saying. Rule number 2.
I was gonna ask, could you get like coccidia or giardia or anything from one of those animals if they had it?
Coccidia, giardia, hookworms, roundworms, whipworms, Physoloptera, tapeworms. You could get any bloodborne diseases. You could get simply toxins. The problem is with a lot of these parasites is they don't have our GPS. So for example, a hookworm normally in our animals goes to the small intestine. In us, they can go to your organs. They can go to your brain. It's called neural larval migrans. Roundworms will often migrate to your eye and make you go blind. Yeah. There's one called Balis ascaris that if you get him, he'll make your brain and organs into Swiss cheese and kill you before you even know you got it. So,
I'm just
Wash
gonna.
your hands.
I'm
wash your hands. All right. Rule number 2 is don't panic. So when you're looking at this, we're not going to panic. So the process, the first thing we have to do is we got to replicate our DNA. And this is a whole process unto itself. We haven't even started dividing the cell yet. First thing we got to do is we got to replicate our DNA. So the first thing we have here is what's called a helicase. That's a fun word. Sounds like helicopter. Helicase. And the helicase comes in and unzips the DNA. That's his job. He just pulls apart DNA. Then we have these polymerase, and they're going to move along the separated DNA, and they are going to help reassemble each individual strand. We can do this pretty easily because we know what nucleotides bind with what nucleotides. We know that adenine binds with thiamine, and cytosine binds with guanine. Apple tree, car in the garage. So this polymerase is going to go through and select the correct nucleotides and just put everything back together. So now when I'm done, I have 2 perfect exact copies of DNA. Now, when I am unzipping and reassembling, there's a very specific way that I have to make DNA. One way is where it's a continuous strand, right? One way is just a continuous zipper. The other way, however, is where I have to do kind of this little skip motion, where the DNA is coming out and I'm reassembling, and I gotta skip back and fill in some blanks. Reassemble, skip back and make some blanks. And we have to do this halting motion. And it's all about the direction in which my nucleotides are able to be assembled. I've got a little video I'm going to show you here in a second. When I have the continuously made strand, that one's called my lead. When I have this one as the DNA is coming out and I'm and then I'm having it come back, fix. And as I'm fixing, the DNA is still stringing through. So then I got to step back, go back, and this halting kind of stuttering in the creation of that DNA, that is known as the lag, which makes sense. Think about your computer. When your computer starts to stutter and doesn't work as quickly, we say that it's doing what? It's lagging. So our lead strand is the one that's made continuously, and our lag strand is made in these little halting segments. Once I have these 2 identical DNA, now remember, this is all happening in our single cell. We have not yet created a new cell. I now have 2 strands of DNA in one cell. And so what happens is I super duper hypercoil it, and it looks similar to kind of like a rounded off X. Let me get my pen here for a second. Kind of looks like this. And I have a supercoiled DNA here and a supercoiled DNA here. 2 perfect copies, but still in the same cell. These are known as chromatids. And together inside here, that's known as a chromosome. All right, I want to, what time is it? Oh, I got plenty of time. I would like to show for you this adorable little video. This is, now it's very elementary, right? But I love them. They're called come on, Doug, get on the wheel. The Amoeba Sisters. Have you seen the Amoeba Sisters? They're adorable. So this particular one is going to discuss all of the parts that I just talked about.